to our final share class for the 2021. This is a holiday class. We are going to be making a classic rib roast for you today. And the reason why I wanted to share it is, first of all, what the recipes that we share, as you've come to know, we like simple recipes and we like tried and true. And we sure hope that this becomes a favorite for you. And I just thought I'd share with you why we discovered this particular dish. Is because years ago, we used to try to model what our family did by having the traditional turkey and ham at Christmas time and just doing sort of a repeat of Thanksgiving. And we realized that, you know what, we don't really want to have the same dishes 4 weeks later that we spent all that time for. We wanted to expand our repertoire, so to speak. And so some years we would do scallops and risotto, and we've shared that before on our share classes, so I hope you check those out. And other years we would do filet mignon, and we every single year vary it up. And this recipe that I'm going to share with you today for this particular roast truly became a favorite, and we've done it many of times. And we did it because of the ease of it. It's one of those dishes that you put in the oven and you have to make one simple change to it after a few minutes, and that's it, and you leave it alone. And so that's why we wanted to share it. I think around the holiday time, we've all been busy enough, running around like crazy, that we just need something that's super simple but tastes amazing. So I know you guys are absolutely gonna love this. And I do have to tell you this, another reason that I'm choosing to share this particular recipe is because a few weeks back, we had some of our daughter's teammates' parents in town visiting, and they came over for dinner. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go pick up a roast and I'm gonna throw this on and it'll be delicious. Well, I ended up picking the wrong kind of roast. And boy, did it not turn out anything like this one. And so I was a little disappointed that it turned out the way it did. It still was good, but it was a different cut of meat than we're used to typically buying, especially around the holiday time. And I just didn't enjoy it as much. And so when you pick up this roast at the store, be sure that it's a rib eye roast and nothing else. It won't taste quite the same. And so we want the best quality meat that we can get, and you will thank me for it because I believe that it truly makes a great Christmas dinner. So one of the first tricks to this roast that I want to tell you about is when you bring it home from the butcher, you want to make sure that you leave it at room temperature for at least an hour. And I want you to remember this for all the meats that you prepare in the future, whether it's a steak that you're about to put on the grill or a hamburger that you're about to put on the grill. Let that come to room temperature. You don't want that cold hitting the heat. And so let's unwrap this. We've let this sit out. And like I said, you want this coming to room temperature. And what I love, they wrap it so nicely too at the butcher when you bring it home. Just take that off of there. There we go. And what I like to do is keep the paper right where it is, because another thing is we don't want a lot of cleanup, right? We want to keep this as easy as possible on ourselves. So right here you have the fat side, and we're going to be keeping that up, but I'll show you what that looks like, just like this. And then you're going to need 3 ingredients. You're going to need a clove of garlic, or a bunch of garlic, and then you're going to need salt and pepper, and that's it. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna break these cloves apart and just set those down here. There we go. And just remove that outer skin. So the way I typically do that, let me scoot that over, is just smash them down, just like that. And for this particular one, I don't want to smash them too hard, just enough to break the skin that it makes it easier to peel. And that's all you want to do. There we go. And as many cloves as you would like. I typically aim for 5 to 6 at least, but you can certainly put more. I mean, I've put as many as 10 in this roast before. Right now, I have about a 4-pound rib eye roast. So you're gonna wanna pay attention, make sure you know what the weight is of the roast, because that determines how long you cook it in your oven. And then another thing is, while your roast is coming to temperature, to room temperature, you want to make sure that your oven is preheated on 450 degrees. So your oven should be heated on 450 degrees, and you want that, it's going to take a good 20 to 30 minutes to get it to that high of a temperature. So that part is really important, that it's as hot as it's going to get. And one of the reasons, I mean, a lot of times when you're dealing with the roast, you want to take it over to your stove and get a skillet and brown it on all sides to get that flavor. That browning flavor is excellent for any type of roast. But when you start to experiment, you realize sometimes it's not necessary. And why it's not necessary in this particular recipe is because we're putting our oven temperature on at such a high heat to begin with. And that's gonna help give us that flavor that we want. And so, you know, that's a great tip, is that high heat is one of those cooking rules that you come to discover, that that's where the flavor's at. Okay, so we have that all peeled off, and I'm just gonna rinse up my hands really quick. So I went ahead and just got some of that garlic there off my hands, but you wanna grab a paring knife will work, and we're just going to make slits for the number of garlic cloves that we have. I ended up getting, let's take a look here, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I'm gonna be making 8 slits on this meat, and we're just going to be placing the garlic clove inside. So push it down, and usually what I do is put that paring knife down and then just slide it right in. Perfect. Slide it in, and then just push your garlic clove right down in there. And imagine that garlic flavor. Oh, getting in there. And make sure you go deep enough so that when you push it in, so like you can see when you push it in, it gets down in there. And we can turn this over, make another slit, and I like I said, like to make it deep so I can really get it down inside of there, and that garlic clove will melt away and flavor the meat so well. And again, just a reminder, make sure you go down deep, push that clove in, and then space them out so that way each person is going to get this punch of garlic flavor when you go to slice this up. There we go. Just have a couple of more. Push that down in. Let's try it over here. And I think I'll do one right there for the end. Excellent. All right, you can leave it just like that. Now we're gonna get a little bit messy. But first what I want to do is go wash my hands so I'm not cross-contaminating anything. Wash my hands up and we'll be back to season the outside of this. So my hands are all nice and clean, and now we're just going to season this entire roast. So what I like to do is I like to use a separate bowl. So I'll take a tablespoon of salt and try to use a coarser salt. It is just going to give you a lot of flavor and a nice sear on the edge. It's going to be this seasoned sear that just is delicious. So combine your salt and pepper mixture up, just like this. And then we get to have some fun. I like to take it into my hands, and we're literally gonna rub it all over the top of this and every side. So put it in your hands and just rub it around. And this is why I like to use a separate bowl. That way I'm not reaching my hands inside my salt and pepper dish. So coat every side and rub that in really good and turn it over. And this is why we leave the paper here, is that way it catches all of that. Rub that in really well. And if you don't feel like there's enough, you can always go back on the paper and push it around and get up any of that extra that spilled. And we'll just get the side here. Make sure that's nicely rubbed in. And I mean, you guys can see just how easy this is. It's why I wanted to show it. A lot of people don't believe me how simple it is. They think that there's a trick that's missing, and there's really not. There we go. So you just rub it in on all sides so you see that it's nicely coated with that salt and pepper. And we have those garlic cloves all tucked down nice inside that roast. And it's gonna flavor it as it melts with this high temperature. It's gonna flavor it so much. So you're gonna wanna leave the fat side up, and we're just gonna put this in our roasting pan. And you can use a roasting pan, but what I recommend is that it has a rack. And so you can use a oven safe cooling rack and then put that on a baking sheet. That works fine. So let me just clean this up. You guys see how easy that was? You're just folding up paper, and that's it. And then we'll go wash our hands. And that's all there is to this dish. Okay, so our hands all washed up, and we're ready to put this into the oven. So like I said, this is at 450 degrees, and you're going to want to roast this initially the first time for 25 minutes. And let me just make an adjustment to my oven real quick. You want to make sure that your rack in here is down low enough that your pan has no problem fitting in there. All right, so what we did is we put it in on 450 degrees for 25 minutes the very first time. So then what we're gonna do is we're gonna turn down that temperature when that 25 minutes is up, and we're gonna roast it based on the weight of our roast. And so this was a 4-pound roast. So typically you want to roast it for 16 minutes per pound. So when this 25 minutes is up, you're gonna reduce the heat to 350 degrees, check the weight of your roast on your package, and then calculate how much longer it needs to roast at 350. In this case, we're gonna be roasting it for 64 minutes. And we're gonna be then, I'll come back when that's all done, and we will go to the final step of carving this up for you guys. All right, so our timer is going off. We're gonna take this roast out of the oven. It looks amazing. Do you guys see that? It's so good. Sit down on the pot holder here. And all you need to do when you pull it out of the oven is wrap it up tightly. And you're going to wrap the whole roast up. And that's going to allow all those juices to get sealed in. And you're just going to let it rest for 15 minutes and then we will carve it up. So we are back. I obviously removed this from the oven, as you guys know, and covered it up. And we've let this rest, and now it's time to serve it up. And it looks absolutely amazing. So I'll transfer it to a cutting board carefully. And remember, they do run a string around it, so it's important that you cut that off as you go. But what we want to do first is go ahead and you can begin to slice it. And I will show you the inside. It's perfectly medium rare. And we like to cut it up, at least 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 an inch, a good slice. There we go. Perfect, and I can show you guys what that looks like. It looks absolutely delicious. You can tell that it's super moist. And with that outer crust on it, I know it's going to be absolutely amazing. There we go. And again, just make sure that string does get taken off of there. There we go. We'll just pull that out and we'll toss that. And it's so fun because you can see just how deeply those garlic cloves got pushed down in there, and you can go ahead and begin to stack it up on your platter. Just like this. There we go, and we'll just keep going here. And as you get to the middle, that's where those people who love rare meat, that's what you want to serve to them. And you can serve this along with just about any of your family favorite sides. And I thought it was important to show you this recipe for Christmas time, because like I said, we're all a little tired by now at the end of the year, and we're ready for something delicious but super easy to have for our dinner. There's one of those garlic cloves. And so I'm just gonna finish up plating this. I should probably take a quick bite here. Here, let's see. I'm more of your medium, well done kind of person, so I'm just gonna take a quick bite at the end here. With the garlic, the pepper, and the salt seasoning, it doesn't sound like it would be much, but it is such amazing flavor, and it's so tender and delicious. You'll fall in love with this. So you guys, I hope you give this roast a try for your Christmas dinner this year. And also try our family tradition of changing things up and make something that you love or something decadent that you haven't tried before, and try that as a new tradition. I wanted to come back and just show you guys a quick and easy setup for your holiday table. I thought it would be fun to share. This is my all-time favorite way to decorate around the holiday time. I try to recycle everything that we have, and I thought I would just share this approach that I take. So what I do is if you've ever, at any of the big box stores, they have these cedar planks for when you make up salmon or trout. And so I have always kept, I probably have piles and piles of these cedar planks. I've kept them because I use them all the time as boards and platters for when I host people here at the house, and I use them also for a table runner, and I'll show you why here in just a second. You'll take the boards and run them right down the center of your table, just like this. And I love to use natural items, so what I do is I head to the backyard and I look for all of our beautiful evergreen trees that we have here in Colorado, and I prune them around this time and take off the ends of them, and I bring them into the house. So I'm going to go grab some of my branches of blue spruce that we have, and I'll be right back. So I have a big bunch of blue spruce here. Now what you want to remember is any type of branch that you cut outside, there's going to be sap that weeps from that as it comes to temperature in the house. So that's actually why I lay down the cedar planks, to catch all of that. So we're just going to set them here, and make sure you have gloves on. If you've ever, mess with branches like this, they're really prickly. And so what I do is I just lay them on the board and arrange them. There's one of our needles from the tree. Put it over there. And just layer it. And we're going for just this all natural look. And here's a larger branch. And we can lay right in the center. And you just want to make sure that there's enough room for your plate still, so you can shift that around, or you might have to come in and trim these up just a little bit. So right here on the end, so I think I ended up cutting 5 total branches. And they're each about, I would say 18 inches or so. And like I said, you just layer them on top of one another. And it looks, blue spruces are beautiful. And this just looks really pretty. So you can tuck them underneath each other. And you're covering up that board, but it's still peeking through right now just a little bit. So what I like to do next is grab some Christmas ornaments. So I just pulled these from our general ornament box that we have, and these are the plastic kind. You buy a big box of them, and then I just spread them out all throughout the greenery. And you can't get any easier than this, right? And it just makes it super festive. And what's fun, if you have little sprigs, you can put that in as well. And layer those out. And you want to pick a variety of color. You don't have to be all matchy-matchy, which is kind of fun, just to add some interest. And then we'll spread these all out. And then one last thing I wanted to mention is grab pine cones from outside and just spray paint them. I have ones that are spray painted silver and gold, and you can layer that in here too. And it's just so fun to layer. And then the next thing you can do, we were talking about oranges earlier when we talked about our sweet orange rolls, and I know I had told you to buy a bag of oranges up. So when you do that, if you have any extra, slice them up, lay them out on a cooling rack and onto a baking sheet, put them in your oven on 200 degrees for an hour or two. Keep a close watch because they can burn. And dry them, and then add those into your greenery too. And then you can add in cinnamon sticks as well and just add that nice aroma that makes your house feel homey when your guests come over. And then you can grab some candles. I have a couple of candles here and you can put those out as well. These are not real candles because anything near greenery, obviously not safe. We have a firefighter in our family, so I'm very conscious of that. You can always put out whole oranges as well for another pop of color, or you can use tangerines as well. But I just thought I would show you a quick and easy way to decorate your holiday table that everyone can do, and just use what you have. And like I said, if you don't have ornaments, then put oranges or apples and fresh fruit out, or cinnamon sticks and pine cones, and let your kids do it and let them decorate it and have some fun. And it smells wonderful in here with the aroma of an evergreen. And so I just thought you guys would really enjoy that. We just thought we would show you an up and close view of that table setting so you guys know that you can do it too. And all we did was bring the outside in, went outside and cut up those branches from our blue spruce tree, and look how beautiful of a setting that doesn't cost you anything, and you just recycle the ornaments that you already have and the trees from outside. So again, from my family to yours, wishing you all a very happy holiday. Many blessings to you all. And just one last reminder for 2021, go share life, love, and food with all your friends and family.